Hello everyone, I'm Pianonymous, a melodica performer. Today, I would like to show you guys some of the melodicas I perform with at my shows. I own around 50 to 60 melodicas and my closet is staffed with them. My collection of melodicas includes those I use for live performances, recording sessions, research purposes, and even some which are so old and they seem useless. Those are for me to watch and love. I actually did not buy most of these melodicas I have. There are only a couple that I bought brand new. Most of them were either gifted to me or picked up from the trash. Even for the ones I purchased, the majority were bought second-hand on auction websites like eBay. Because most of the melodicas I own are gifted to me, my collection has been growing on its own. Now allow me to introduce the instruments I use during my live performances. First up, I have the P37C. This instrument is crucial in producing the pianonymous sound. The current generation model of this series being manufactured is the P37E. As the name might imply, the C model came prior to a D and E models. What's different about this instrument compared to the current generation model is the chamber inside of the melodica where the reeds are. The entire air chamber is constructed out of metal rather than plastic, which is usually used in most instruments. This construction greatly changes the sound. Also, the instrument is customized to produce a much louder sound than normal. When a group of melodicas perform together, a large and strong sound can be produced. However, when there is only one performing alongside a different instrument, its sound can often be lacking and weak. On top of that, in a live venue, the sound can't be picked up sometimes. Melodicas more often than not struggle with being too quiet rather than being too loud. Since you can't really ask the other performers, hey, the melodica is a very quiet instrument, can everyone else tone down their sound? You must customize the instrument to produce a very large sound by modifying the reeds. It does make blowing into the instrument really hard, but it allows you to produce the perfect sound for live performances. In most cases, what holds the air chamber and lid together is a screw, but in this instrument, it's held together using something like a binder clip, often used to hold stacks of paper together. Unlike the screw mechanism, with a clip there is no need to worry about stripping the thread, and it's quick and easy to release the mechanism. And because the sound is loud, I call this instrument Giant, named after the character in the anime Doraemon. The springs at the bottom are quite strong, which makes the keys very fast and responsive, making this instrument ideal of playing fast. I believe this is the predecessor of the newest model, the P37D, and here is the C. It doesn't really show well on the camera, but they are slightly different in color. I really like this darker color, but I chose which instrument to play depending on the type of music I'm performing. Anyways, this was my favorite instrument that I have nicknamed Giant. Next up is a model currently in production by Suzuki, the M37C. It is slightly coated in paint, but this is instrument modified by me, so it can be played by both hands. I own 3 of these M37C, and I also have the Plus model as well. Each instrument's sound level is adjusted to small, medium, and large, and this one over here is played using both hands. This is one of the few instruments that I have personally purchased. I have heavily customized this instrument. I can attach a strap and play it like this. Right here, there is a political phrase saying melodicas are bad for your health. These days, many people in Japan say playing that melodica is good for your health, but this is definitely not the conclusion you will reach if you play the instrument seriously. There are too many things that make this instrument bad for your health. Also, too many accidents occur, like breaking your teeth and cutting your hand. There are too many dangerous parts to the instrument, and until those issues get fixed, including sanitation, I intend to advocate for and stand by my phrase, melodicas are bad for your health. I believe the next 2 models I'm going to introduce are a must-have in producing the Pianonymous sound. It's a little hard to tell because they are painted, but the dark green one is the School 34 and this one is the MA32. Both are young junior models. I've played them individually, but I have also played them together at the same time to produce a music-like sound of an accordion. I forgot the exact pitch, but I believe I slightly offset them, so one is 441 and the other is 443. You can't just play any 2 instruments and expect to produce a music-like sound. You need to consider their compatibility. The School 34 is starting to get slightly hard to purchase. This one time, I sent it to the factory for repair. It came back broken. They messed up the adjustment made inside as well as the screws. I learned a valuable lesson that you should adjust and maintain your own instrument. You're the only one who can protect your own instrument, so it is important that you do your own maintenance. The next instrument here is the Bass 24. If you look closely at this Bass 24, Bass 24 is bad for your health, is written over here. This melodica is also heavily customized. Initially, I had the intent of customizing it so that even a 2 years old can blow, and I ended up with a bass Melodion that was really easy to play. However, it was difficult for the mic to pick up the sound at live venues, and oftentimes the PA would tell me, "Sorry, but it's hard to pick up the sound of that small instrument." This made me realize that this wasn't going to work, and I decided to train myself and customize the instrument to produce a louder sound. I added some cushion on the inside and improved the response time a little. Some people might feel like the bass melodion is very difficult to play. However, after heavily customizing the instrument, it has become slightly easier to play. It is probably still difficult to play with beginner's lung capacity, so because in the end, this instrument has been customized for me personally to produce a full resonant sound. The reason this place is open is because sometimes I put a mic in here. I usually just leave this open. Now we have the W37. This melodica has a beautiful wooden body and costs around $1,300. It is too expensive for me to purchase, so I'm having it loaned from a lady I know. She said she was not using it, so she allowed me to use it out of her kindness. See this wooden body? It's super heavy. It's so heavy that it's unrealistic to perform with it for hours on the stage. Maybe it was intended to be placed flat on a surface like a table. Regardless, this instrument wasn't meant for someone to practice on for hours on end. Its sound doesn't even resonate very well. Since it's covered in wood, its sound fails to resonate very well, and depending on the performance venue or the acoustics, the instrument lacks any merit of choosing over any other instrument. In addition, their advertisement slogan is "Produce a warm and soft tone." Even when the instrument is basically a Pro V2, on the inside has a harsh and piercing sound. When someone with trained ears hears its sound, they will most likely describe it as a slightly muffled Pro V2. Because of that, there hasn't been many places to use this instrument. I can't really use it outside. Even if it could be used in recording studios, it isn't suitable for live performancing. Now, let me show you the best things about the W37. You see the bulb on the back when the wooden case is taken off. On the Pro V2, there is a cover here, but it doesn't exist on this instrument. It's just my assumption, but it's probably because when the cover is on, the sound becomes way too muffled. When the cover is taken off and the bulb is exposed on the W37, it suddenly becomes a great instrument to use at live performances. The sound resonates well and becomes suitable to be used in music where the sound needs to be piercing and harsh, and all of a sudden it becomes a very obedient and useful instrument. Recently, I have been connecting this instrument and the MA32 and performing them together. Doing so makes it lose its best feature, but I believe it becomes an even better instrument this way. Finally, we have the Andes 25F. This instrument has also been heavily customized. Sponges were added to slightly muffle the clicking of the keys, and a mic can now be attached to the instrument. There are also a couple other modifications that were made. The backside has a lot of marks made from past modifications, but it has become a very deep and complex yet cute instrument. It's definitely not simple or shallow, instead it's very unique and admirable. And this wraps up the lineup of instruments I have selected from my vast collection to use during my performances. Thank you very much and see you next time.